Call the meeting to order. Welcome, everyone. Will you join us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I moved it.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Consideration of the January minutes. We'll make a motion on that.
I will make a motion to accept the minutes as written.
I will second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Activity reports.
Yeah, I guess. So we'll start with, bear with me with my voice. Incidence cases for 2024 year-to-date. January, we had a decrease of 30.61% from December of 2023 to 34. 42 offenses for the month of January. Sorry. As you'll see on the pages following, and I provided for you guys broken down by each officer. The arrests year-to-date 2024. January is a decrease of 30.61%, which is really the same, from December down to 10. As you'll see, all the arrests broken down by each officer again, each page, which you'll see. I don't provide that part though. For details. Any questions on those two?
No. Anyone? Anyone have questions?
No.
So traffic stops year to date for 2024 for January. We had a 7.9% increase with 136. 13 tickets were given out. That's 9.56% chance of getting a ticket. It's not that bad based on that. So a lot of education, which is good. As you'll see, all the streets and where the actual citations were given and what street they were on in the pages after. So, any questions on those? Nope. Collisions years to date. So we had January decrease of 31.25% down to 11. That's a good decrease. Most of the streets there are Pine Hill Road, always South Main Street, and usually Center Street, which is on there only one. So those are our major ones that usually get hit for our collisions. And then the next thing we got is our activity analysis reports for the officers. So the month of January for 2024, we had a total of 32 incidents, as you can see it. Just remember that some officers are on midnights, some are on days, some are evenings. They do rotate. So, but the ones that you do see is the school still. Mary had 12, Eric had 5. If you look at last year, Mary had 20. So they're pretty much on target of what last year's was. And that's what last year's is. We did have a lot more incidents in the month of January last year. So we're about halfway.
She started the school year hot though, right? She had quite a
Yeah.
bit in the beginning.
Yeah, in the beginning
months.
she did. Yeah, she had 12 and Eric had 5 over there in the middle school, so and I'll get to that report right now. What goes in there? So for Mary first, January was the 5th month of the school for SRO Gabrielli for with 20 days of school. SRO Gabrielli responded to incidents at Kingswood High School, wrote 13 reports. She must have one more that didn't get in there for some reason. She took a report regarding threatening homework assignment sent to a teacher. The investigation led to no criminal charges and no school discipline was issued. She had 2 reports for students in possession of tobacco vapes. The students received student discipline from the school. She investigated 2 assaults with the same victim on different occasions. No criminal charges. The student involved received school discipline. Herself and SRO Lara Shell assisted school staff with escorting a student with special needs to their classroom. She investigated a student who had been truant from school. She reported it to DCYF as a CHINS, Child's Needs Services, who then assigned the case to juvenile probation officer. She investigated a report of harassing phone calls from an unknown person that received outside of school in another jurisdiction. She assisted school staff with a student who was in mental health crisis. SRO Gabrielli transported the student to Huggins Hospital for voluntary evaluation. She assisted school staff with students who was in mental health crisis. Transfer, is it the same thing? Yeah, that was another one. Student to Huggins Hospital for an IEA. She participated in a meeting regarding Kingswood Next Step team. The mission of the Kingswood Next Step team is to provide intervention and support for identifying at-risk students to increase overall positive behaviors and academic success. SRO Gabrielli and SRO LaRochelle spoke with the high school health classroom regarding the effects of driving while intoxicated. Students volunteered to put their field sobriety test wearing impairment goggles, which was a hit. That was in the health class. I saw some photos of that going around. It actually went very well. SRO Gabrielli and Corporal Shanks were invited to speak in a classroom about continuing education in law enforcement. They were also requested to put students through field sobriety tests wearing the same impaired goggles. For outside agencies that she assisted at the school, SRO Gabrielli took a report regarding sexual assault. The information was given to the department that was at jurisdiction and also reported to DCYF. She took a report regarding sexual assault. The information was given to the department that had that jurisdiction. Assisted another agency with gathering information for a current investigation. And you'll see her monthly stats that's written down on there for you. And I'm getting into SRO Eric LaRochelle. January was the 5th month of school for SRO Eric LaRochelle with 18 days of school. This month included New Year's Day, Martin Luther King Day, no school for voting on 23rd, and 2 snow days. SRO LaRochelle responded to several incidents in the middle school and assisted SRO Mary Gabrielli in the high school. He responded to a disorderly student in the middle school main office that resulted in the office being closed and daily operation halted. The student was brought to the police department for parent pickup. A juvenile CANS assessment was conducted. SRO LaRochelle assisted middle school staff in locating 2 students who had been wandering the high school for approximately 30 minutes. He assisted SRO Gabrielli with speaking with 3 individual health classes on the 9th regarding the effects of driving while intoxicated, which I mentioned before. They put their goggles on, they had that classroom. He took a report of middle school students caught with vape pens. He took a report of a middle school student having an inappropriate conversation with an unknown person while using a school laptop. After investigation of the situation, it was learned that the student had been writing to a person at all, hadn't been writing to a person at all, but was writing back and forth with an artificial intelligent IA chat program called Character IA. The SRO took a report from Crescent Lake school staff regarding a student reporting heavy drug and alcohol use for former residents. Versions of the events was verified with siblings who is a middle school student. Report is ongoing, search warrant pending. The SRO LaRochelle took a report of speeding cars behind the high school and middle school. I dealt with those. He assisted SRO Gabrielli with a student who had been submitted concerning statements on homework assignments. He assisted SRO Gabrielli with locating a suspicious man in a trench coat trying to enter the art center without going to the main office. The man in question turned out to be a guest and invited to the building. SRO LaRochelle assisted SRO Gabrielli with the special needs students who had run from AIDS, was escorted to the classroom, which you read in that one, and spoke to a high school student who had been reported for unsafe driving on their way to school and was given a warning. He continues to make efforts to eat lunch with 7th grade and 8th grade students to build relations, answer questions, encourage dialogue between certain cliques and students that don't typically interact with each other, as well as attending student drop-off and talk to the encouraging students throughout the day. So he's basically mingling with them, which is great. That's what we want to see. You see your activity report and the numbers right there. Any questions on the SRO?
I'm good.
So next sheet is the prosecutors. As you'll see, all the cases that he had, 1, 2, 3, 13 cases for the month of January. So you can see all the dispositions that's recorded there for him and sent out. And the last one was the gas usage for the month of January. So the gas was $2.69, which is good, which is under what we budgeted for, so as long as that stays that way, we're in good shape. You can see what we used and what the price was on the second sheet. So what we used was 223 gallons, which came out to $1,677 in the month of January. That's all I got for that.
Thanks. Chief, you have anything for us?
Here we
I just want to take this opportunity to thank everybody for being here and knowing that this is the first commission monthly meeting that I will be attending as a chief. My January was spent as a part-time investigator and accreditation manager. I spent most of that month doing just that. In fact, prior to the meeting, I handed a binder to the commissioners so that you know what that is. That's about 30, 35 policies that they need to review and discuss and perhaps sign to replace existing policies that are on the books now. My month thus far, even though we're wandering into February, I'll just let you know, has been very welcoming by the town. It's an amazing community. And I've had this conversation with several people up to this point where the thing that impresses me the most thus far is the optimism of the people that live here. People here are positive folks, and that's rare. They look for positive things to talk about. They look forward to things instead of looking back at things that perhaps aren't great. And that is reassuring. They have been very welcoming, and I'm very appreciative of that. I've tried to spend as much time as possible learning the town, learning the folks in the town, and learning where all the streets go, and knowing that, boy, you guys got a lot of dead-end roads here. So if you see me turning around in your driveway, you'll know that I found yet another dead-end road. But I want to make sure that not only my officers in the agency and my unsworn members of the agency, but also citizens should feel free to reach out, contact me if they have questions or if they just want to have a conversation. That's what small towns are all about. Thank you.
Thanks, Chief, and welcome.
Thank you.
Commissioners' items. Our next scheduled meeting will be Thursday, March 21st, 2024, 4:15 here in the same room. I look forward to that. Board of Selectmen's rep.
Thank you. Any questions for me? I don't have any for you.
I do not. Anyone?
And should people get out and vote for the budget?
Yes.
So that people know the budget's, explain it to them, because a lot of people don't understand, knee-jerk reaction sometimes is to vote for the default budget and what that would mean, for different departments, especially the ambulance situation we have. People vote for the default budget, there won't be enough money in the default budget when we define the money in order to provide the ambulance service that will be required for next year. There's a subsequent warrant article that could help with that, but, just explain to people the difference between voting for the default budget and, what it really means. Because for some departments, they're actually gonna, there's a lot of different questions there. It's not just about the default budget. People want to send a message about how they feel about taxes, which I understand, feel the same way. Everyone's taxes went up, it's tough, but it should be an informed vote either way. And the voters' intent, what they want to do, we'll accept it and we'll move on.
Thanks for that. I think that there was a very informative article in the paper today in reference to the ambulance and the ambulance budget and the ambulance situation. I think that probably go a long way. It cleared up a few questions I had. I think that was really good. Yeah, Budget Committee, Tom?
It was, I guess I've recovered from the deliberative session, as we all have. But I echo what Luke says. In fact, if you really look at the numbers, my belief is that if we go into default and warrant article regarding the ambulances pass, we're going to be pretty much very close to the same position anyway. So explaining to people that there are departments that will suffer with a default budget, but that in the aggregate, putting the warrant article for the ambulance back in, you're coming to close to the same conclusion overall. So it is important for people to understand as best they can what's in that budget.
Just to echo that too, if you look at what's done during budget season, that's one thing, and you can do so much with what's given to you. Okay, when it comes, if the voters really are concerned about like really cutting the budget or really looking at the budget, you gotta put some big items on the table. You gotta put health insurance on the table. That's a negotiated thing. Does not happen during budget season. That's a big animal in the budget. So I mean, if the people really need to be informed, because that's something we can't deal with unless it's a negotiation type thing. And it's tough. There's a tough balance between what the town provides for services and what the voters, every year come to us and approve these items, and also taking care of the employees in this town. They do a fantastic job. So it's a tough balancing act. It's a very hard balancing act. Between the budget, between the department heads and, for instance, the commission, and then you get to the town manager and the board of selectmen and the budget committee, there's, and I reiterated this a million times, but there's a lot of work that goes into bringing a budget to the voters that, is it perfect? No, but it's come a long way from the beginning of where it started and where it is now, what we propose to the voters. It's a tough process, so.
Yeah, I agree. But a good one.
Yes.
And if the
necessary.
public wants to get involved, by all means, during the process, they're always invited.
Thanks, Bob. Guys, appreciate it.
Yeah.
Anyone else? Jody? Anyone to come in?
No, pretty much these guys covered it, The budget is, you get the highway department, everybody who works, to go to the default budget is gonna put a lot of stress and everything on that, and employees, and, there's a lot to it. I may get up to the mic and complain a lot, but you know what? There's a lot to it.
Yeah.
People put a lot of work in, and like Luke said, it's not, it's not perfect, but I think we're moving, and we're gonna get there.
Good.
That's the most important thing.
Yeah. I agree, thank you. I think under other business, Pat, you think you had something for us today, or something? Oh, you can sit, you can do whatever you want, you can stay there if you want, oh, that's fine.
I need to do this.
You can sit there.
Hi, good afternoon.
Thanks.
For the record, James Savage, dispatcher, and also the elected treasurer for Wolfeboro Local 39, in attendance, secretary, no, treasurer. And in attendance, we have President Sergeant Pat Sparrow, Vice President Dispatcher Ken Fall, and Sergeant at Arms Sergeant Michael Starr. I have a prepared statement here I'm looking to read. Notice of unfair bargaining by the Wolfeboro Police Commission. Under the advisement of our New England Police Benevolent Association representation, NEPBA Local 39 respectfully requests this concern be entered into official record. The Wolfeboro Police Commissioners have unfairly negotiated a contract with the employees of Local 39. On December 15, 2022, all three police commissioners signed off on our current contract that is set to expire December 31st, 2024. Part of this contract specifically required the police commission to meet with the union executive board and command staff to develop a policy and procedure for internal investigations. This task force was to be formed in January 2023, with the first meeting happening no later than February 2023. In over a year since this agreement was signed, we've met only one time, March 30, 2023. At that meeting, only Commissioner Coop and Commissioner O'Brien were in attendance, along with the entire union executive board and no command staff. Neither commissioner showed up with anything new to present or any movement, only informing us that the town attorney had a few issues he wanted to look into first. Since that meeting, we have not heard a word from the police commission, despite multiple attempts by the union to set up a meeting. The best we would get in a response was after everything was done, we could meet, referring to former Chief Dean Rondo's investigation. Respectfully, that investigation has nothing to do with the members of the union or the contract, and very little to do with the commissioners, as it was given to an outside agency, MRI, to handle. The investigation into Dean Rondo also occurred in April of 2023, 2 months after the commission was to meet with us, and 4 months after the original contract was signed. Due to a lack of attention to this matter, members of Local 39 have had investigations done this year with no protection in the union contract. These investigations have lasted considerably longer than needed and have lowered overall employee morale. Local 39 has presented a draft Article 5 Employee Rights Internal Investigation, which was crafted with assistance from NEPVA representatives, with actual verbiage used in several NH towns in their police contracts at the initial negotiated meeting. We met several times after, and not a single mention was made by the town nor the police commission that there was an issue with what we had brought forward. All parties involved went through a completely new contract prepared by Local 39, section by section, at multiple meetings, with nothing said until the very last meeting. At that point, we were presented with, this is just too much for us to digest at once, we will need more time. Throughout this entire negotiation process, about 3 months, we were under the impression that there were no issues with what we had in place in Article 5. With time running out and both sides eager to finalize the bulk of the contract, we agreed to continue meeting in the following months to complete and finalize Article 5. We believe the elected officials would be a neutral party and could help us agree on clear language that protects union members and also works for the police department. It, however, has become abundantly clear that the police commissioners are not acting in good faith, as we are over a year since signing the contract. Local 39 has given ample time for the commissioners to make things right. We simply wanted fair negotiations for all involved and basic employee protection in our contract. With a clear lack of transparency and communication, the commission has lost considerable trust with Local 39. Again, following the advice from our union rep, we are presenting you with a letter from the New England Police Benevolent Association with our intentions concerning this matter moving forward. Thank you for your time. Respectfully submitted, Sergeant Patrick Sparrow, President, Dispatcher Ken Paul, Vice President, Dispatcher Jim Savage, Treasurer, Sergeant Michael Stark, Sergeant at Arms.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jim.
Thank you. I also have a copy of the articles that we have prepared, if you'd also like a copy of those.
Sure. Okay, yeah.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you, that's been accepted and noted. Anyone have any questions? Anything? So it's not my understanding, you don't have any intention of discussion Article 5 today, correct?
Just wanted to provide you with that. That was recommended from our union, and provide you with that letter.
I understand.
I mean, we would like to discuss it. That was the ultimate agreement.
Sure.
We started over a year ago, you know, so.
I understand. My thought on that is, you know, as a commission, we've had, you know, this on our mind, other issues, and, you know, anything that's come up within the last, you know, 60 days or so. In my opinion, again, we have some new initiatives we'd like to get through as a commission that would add to our policies and procedures. We decided, you know, to hold off on those, you know, based on the current warrant article. We just
Well,
take
this
it.
was agreed upon in our contract.
Yeah, oh, I understand.
A year ago, which the verbiage
Yes.
you guys provided for us.
I understand.
So this was at your request, which we agreed upon.
Correct.
So I mean, I feel like the ball's being dropped on your end on this.
Yeah, and, you know, that was an honest response. We did have a lot of things going on. So I think, I think what I can offer you today is, you know, especially something like this, it'd be really inappropriate for us to make some kind of agreement with, you know, with 39 on any, you know, when, come next month, we might not be in charge anymore, right? The selectman or the town manager. So for us to make any kind of agreement that they might be held to, I feel would be just totally inappropriate. So what we can do, I guess, is, you know, I'll bring it up to these fellas, is, my suggestion is we put it on the agenda for March to discuss that. If we're still here, we'll discuss it.
Is that non-public?
No, we can make it public if you want. Yeah,
That-
and, you know, and also, you know, this doesn't require a meeting for us to talk about union things. We can have it public, you know, or just, we don't have to actually have a public meeting to discuss, you know,
No, exactly.
a union thing.
And that's what our understanding from the contract verbiage is what was gonna happen. Where
Correct.
we were gonna meet with you gentlemen along with the command staff and hash this all out, so.
So
I mean,
the
if you guys wanna just set a date, we'll be more happy, open to hear that, and you can get working on this, you know?
Yeah, so, I guess maybe for now, why don't we set it for the March meeting? And if we come up with something in the meantime, we can switch it to, you know, yeah, non-meeting.
Is there a time constraint for you gentlemen as far as like,
I mean, if you're shooting for that March meeting right now, I don't believe so, I think. I mean, obviously, we're gonna start negotiations here probably, what, the end of
July,
August
probably
again?
summertime?
I mean, I'd like to get something, so if we have something in place so that when we do come to the negotiations, if, say, we need to tweak something or change something, at least there's something to go off. So obviously, the sooner the better, no more
Well, and
delay.
the other thing too that I might, if I may point out, is that under the new verbiage, obviously the original warrant article that abolished the commission was incorrect in its construction. It was corrected by the Board of Selectmen. And then there was a sentence added at the end to have it wait till the end of May before the commission would actually leave. And I believe that's for a period of transition.
Well, I mean, to me, if I were you gentlemen, and this is no disrespect, I would just keep business as normal.
Well, that's what our
And
plan
let's
is.
do what we agreed upon over a year ago.
Well, that's why,
And
where I
then-
was going with that, Pat, was that we'll continue,
Mhm.
you know, we'll meet, we'll continue and get as much done as
Yeah.
possible before that
I
time.
mean, that's all we're looking for, is what we agreed upon over a year ago, this is.
Yeah,
get
I
it.
mean, that's why I suggest put it on the March,
Yeah.
on the March
That
meeting
sounds-
schedule.
And
Sounds-
we need something from you guys at that meeting, because we've brought this forward several times.
I understand.
And the one meeting we did get in March of last year, we had nothing back from you guys. So we need something presented from you. And this isn't just made-up language we came up with, this is stuff that the union gave to us and other towns are using.
Was that meeting, that's when I was sick.
Yeah, you weren't there.
And,
Because we presented the verbiage in one of our regular negotiation meetings.
Right.
And that's when you guys told us you wanted to take time to review it and have the town's attorney look over it. Then you came back to us and we agreed upon the current verbiage of setting up, I guess, if you want to call this task force meeting where we're at, to try to, you know, find a common ground and get what works for all parties. So
Sure.
we just want to get that going.
Write a letter of intent.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, so we'll schedule it for the next meeting, we'll put it on the agenda, and if we come up with a date, alternative date to meet without the official meeting, we certainly can do it, we'll work on that too then. And what I'll do is, I'll let Jim Pinio know, and because the warrant article does pass, obviously that'll be something he and the selectmen will take up with you.
Yeah, and then we'll,
Yeah, so we'll let him know that what we talked about today, and that one way or another, it'll be something we can meet on, whether it's us or the selectmen. Luke, does that make sense? Okay. And so I'll entertain a motion just to table that at this
I'll
point.
make that motion. You table that until the March 21st meeting.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anything else?
We
guys?
do have flexibility if you guys do choose that you want to meet, but, you know, because of your schedules, if it's a better work to meet at a certain time versus at a meeting, either way you want to do it.
I mean, we'll start with that initial date at the next
Okay.
meeting, and then like you said, if something else comes up, just shoot me an email and I can check with the union and see what works. I mean, we only need a couple of us there anyway, so, because everyone's pretty much on the same page, so.
Good, thank you. Anything else? Chief? You-
Anything from the public, Brian?
Or anything?
Don't
I didn't forget you. Tom?
Yeah, I just wanted to make a comment about the commission and its ongoing. I believe it would be a mistake to disband the commission, to consolidate the responsibilities and the duties that you gentlemen have under one or even a board that may or may not have the credentialing and the qualifications that you have. I believe is the wrong way to go. So I just wanted to say that at a public meeting where the public would hear it from a citizen. I've been coming to the police commission meetings now for probably a decade, and I've seen various people on the dais. I like what I see here. I think there's a lot of talent that's come onto it recently and ongoing, and would support very much its continuance, and I think the public would lose a lot as a result of dissolving this commission.
Thanks, Tom, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Hey, Chief, you need to go into non-public today?
I do have a non-public meeting.
All right, we'll make a motion.
Could you just hold on, I just want to make a statement. In my capacity as Director of Security at Brewster Academy, I ran into the assistant head of school today, a guy named James Riley, and he recounted a tragic situation that occurred within the last few days with his canine, a personally owned canine, and how it had ingested a toy which got stuck in the windpipe, and his wife tried to extricate that, and law enforcement responded. Mike Strock was there. Sergeant Strock, Sergeant Sparrow was there, as well as I believe some fire. He wanted to convey to me that he was utterly and profoundly appreciative of the efforts that were made, specifically with Sergeant Mike Strock in rendering emergency first aid to that canine. Obviously, the canine, we all know, or us in this room know, that the canine perished. But I would just ask, thank you, Sergeant Sparrow, as well, but I would just ask the police administration that if it is accommodation worthy, which I think it sounds like it is, that you would do the research and put that forward for consideration. So thank you for the job that you guys did.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
That's all. Anything else? At this point, I'll entertain a motion to go into non-public under RSA 91A, ;32, section A and B.
So moved.
I'll second that.
Roll call vote.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. So, close the public meeting at this point, go to move to non-public. Thank you, everybody.